welcome everybody to our relationship segment.
Why you have to breathe like that?
That sounded more serial killer than anything.
Oh, sorry.
I'm super scared now.
Okay, sorry. Okay, let me try that again.
No, we're keeping that.
Yeah, that's definitely used.
We're keeping that.
We're basically turning into a relationship show now.
Oh,
Correct me
yes,
if
we are.
I'm wrong. To your heart.
So, ladies and gentlemen, is there a right way to break up with somebody?
I mean, ending it would be the best way. Just kidding.
Okay, so let's start with Nay on this one. Is there a right way to break up with somebody?
Well, I think it should be face to face. Definitely not text or email.
So it's interesting.
So how do you get that face to face? Okay, so me and Mace are dating.
Well,
Okay.
I just want to be like, hey, the thing that girls always say.
The worst
we need
message
to
ever.
talk.
We need to talk. When
We
you
need
get
to talk.
that, bro,
Yep, we need to talk.
ooh.
Bum bum bum.
You
So
might as well just get drunk.
Why? My thing is, and I've always thought this from the very first time I had a girlfriend. Why even send that text? I'm gonna see if we're dating. I'm gonna see you eventually, anyways. Why are you putting so much pressure on this conversation? We need to talk.
Yep.
Why not just you continue
Wait
our
until-
conversation, or not even like text until you guys meet each other and be like, hey, okay, listen.
Because you're trying to find out when they're free. Like,
You know them. You should know when they're free. If you're dating this person, you should know more or less like
Somewhat their schedule.
You're
where
hanging out all the
next time.
time.
You're probably gonna see them, so on and so forth. Especially at school, right? Because obviously you're in high school when you're first dating someone, so you get that text in the middle class. We need to talk, and be like, well, why did you just? Wait
Oh, and then
between
your
classes?
yeah, your
Like-
whole rest of your class is ruined because that's all you can
Yes,
think
I
about.
know. So that's a horrible text. People just wait until you see the person and then go into it.
And then a lot of times when they say, "Hey, we need to talk," it's not even really breaking up. It's just like we need to talk about something serious. And then the whole day you're thinking like, "Oh my gosh,
Yes.
what's going
That
on?"
happens
Yeah,
a lot
because
too.
and it could
anxiety.
be absolutely nothing.
And I hate the excuse. It's a lot to put in a text. Why not just give me like a summary real quick, and then we could get into detail when I see you.
Yeah, or again, like you said, just wait.
Yes, or just wait.
Just
period.
wait.
Yes, that text is absolutely horrible.
So, listeners, if you take any advice from us at all from this entire podcast,
send that text.
Don't send that text message. We need to
Yes.
talk.
But okay, so going into his question, are we in a day of age, or you can just text someone and end it?
So my first thought was very similar to Naomi's. Was I would imagine to do it the right way, right? Like what everyone says is the right way is to do it face to face. But again, I was kind of talking to someone at work today, and she kind of explained that in her past relationship, that's something she's tried to do is do face to face breakups. But the person then becomes very emotional and very like, I'm gonna like do something to myself or something like that, like to make it to
Gosh.
to like
Whoa.
right. Where like she was like, then she felt guilty and it's like, man, I kind of have to, this person's like groveling at my feet basically, and I kind of feel like I'm like obligated to stay with them at that point. Where she said eventually she just texted them and then moved, like she was moving anyways, but like she didn't tell them where she moved and like changed her number, stuff like that, and then kind of just ghosted them at that point after she said, hey, like I think we need to break up.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it, especially from like a female perspective, because life's crazy now, right? You don't know
Yes.
what the heck this person's gonna do, and meeting them up. And I always thought, like, what you guys are thinking face to face for the longest time, until the first people I met called in to work through text message, and that changed my whole view. Because I always thought that was weird when people texted their boss and was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna make it into work." To me, like that was weird to me. Like
Yeah.
that's something that you should
Oh, for
have
sure.
to call. But when I realized that was like just like the normal thing now,
Socially acceptable.
yeah, like it changed my viewpoint on something like this, because it's like, okay, like what is acceptable now? Like, can't I just text you and be like, hey, like listen, like
This isn't working.
you know,
Like,
this isn't working. Like why do I have to meet you face to face?
because
A lot of people meet over the internet now.
You're
Like
grown adults.
we just
Like, we're
went to a
grown.
wedding where they like their love story was that a guy messaged her, or the groom messaged her over like Facebook or something, and then they're like love blossom, now they're getting married, right? So same kind of concept, right? Whether it's grown ups or whatever, like. I
So you're-
mean, every bad news I ever have to give somebody will always forever have to be face to face with somebody, except if I'm
yeah.
like calling in or
I
something.
look at-
Then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
no.
I see it like we're grown adults. So then, like at that point, if there's anything that you would like to say or anything,
Then
like,
text me.
just, you can just tell me.
what about a phone call?
I think a phone call would be
That's
little bit different.
okay. That's okay, I guess.
So we've at
it's
least
voice.
so is it is because if we would have said 10 years ago, right before texting was a thing, most people would have said a phone call was
Not okay.
Was not okay. Now we've kind of introduced texting, so it's now like
Now
the
phone calls like the
call's
middle,
okay,
like
but
Well, I
texting
guess
is
it's
not.
phone calls okay. 'Cause at least it's like
more personal.
Yeah, because you're like, you can go back and forth with it.
But why do you have to, like,
say
if I'm done,
anything.
I'm over it. Why do I need to go back
But
and
what
forth
if
with
the
it?
other person's like not done and they
Yeah, but
have
I'm
a little
done.
bit more things to say?
Well,
And
the whole
then
point of
like,
break,
could you at least like tell me like what happened?
but the
Like,
whole
what if
point of
the
that person,
wants to know? Can
the,
you at least tell me what happened?
the whole person, the whole person, my bad. The whole reason why this person is bringing up is because, like you said, Patrick said
done.
he's done.
Yeah.
So that person really doesn't want to hear it. It's like,
Yeah,
I'm
like,
telling
I'm
you, I'm
over it.
done.
Yeah, but if you've been with this person for a long time, and they have questions that they just want to know, like, can you tell me what happened? Can you just tell me like what it was? Don't you think that person
But
deserves that?
can't they text you that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my thing. You can.
But texts are always perceived differently from one person to the next.
Sure, it's hard to convey tone over text. I get that, absolutely. But I think so. Like kind of what Patrick's saying. I think you still should be able to send the text, and if she wants to call you and then have more of a
And-
conversation, then you can accept the
Yes.
phone call and be like, "Hey, this is exactly
Or
what's
not,
going on."
or I can
Yes,
deny it and be like, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm over you, because like, okay, so are we talking? Okay, so a guy cheats on you, and you still want to meet him in person. I need to meet you in person real quick. 'Cause I need to tell you we're over it because you cheated on me 3,000 times.
No, that's different.
Exactly. So what is it if I'm over it and I'm completely done? Why do I have to meet you? Just because maybe
Heck
you're not
no,
over it yet,
if-
why do I have to meet you?
If the guy cheated, I'm done. I mean, that's pretty much if the guy's like cheating.
Right. Okay, but I'm taking that concept. The concept of
Yes.
that's because you're done. Okay. So if I'm done, I'm not feeling this relationship between me and Mesa anymore. Right. I'm just not feeling it. He didn't really do anything wrong. I'm just not.
I let
feeling
myself
it.
go.
Yeah, he let himself go. He started going out his whiskers.
He's not meant for you.
He's not Mason Lou anymore.
Yeah, he's not Mason Lou. He doesn't want to be Mason Lou. He's too cool, right? So then I'm done. Why can I text him? But in your case, you're done, but you can text your guy because he cheated on you. Either way, the grand scheme of it in the middle, at the core, is the same. You're
Yeah.
both done.
I still
Why
think
can't the-
you should
why-
have
why-
a conversation. I think you should
Okay,
be
so
adult.
you would meet up with the cheater?
Yeah, we should have a conversation.
Wait, correct me
about
if
it
I'm
'cause we're
wrong though.
adults.
Didn't like 10 seconds ago
Yeah, a while
you
ago you said, no,
you
it's
would not.
different.
So emotionally, I'm done. But really thinking about it, you're both adults. You should just. I mean, more than likely, a lot of times when you're in a relationship, y'all have things of each other. So like, you're gonna see each other to hand the things back.
Fine, but I think that the point he's trying to make though is that can you technically still avoid that conversation by saying, "Hey, look, I'm just not
Yes.
that like this isn't working," and I guess you're kind of hoping that it doesn't really go into a huge conversation because this person might also be somewhat done with the relationship and say, "You know what? Maybe you're right."
I
right?
think realistically that's probably the only time you probably send a text.
Yeah, but
right?
would you
Is-
like to be broken up through text?
I don't think anyone wants to get broken up with.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but through text, do you want that?
The thing about it is it's gonna hurt no matter what. Whether someone breaks up with me through a text, in person, over the phone, through FaceTime, it's going to hurt me because they're breaking up with me. It's going to hurt me no matter what. Just like the person that Mason was talking about, that person would just does not seem, I'm sorry, stable. It just depends on the person no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah, I think- yeah.
You know?
And I think either way, like you nothing should be not acceptable, because like if
Sure.
I feel more comfortable texting you this because I know maybe like this person that's sending the text is hurt by it too, so they don't want to see, they don't want
Yeah.
to like, break down. They're saying I'm gonna send you this text, then I can help, like I can be around the people to help me get over it.
Yeah, and kind of harp back on what she said, and the point she made is it was easier for her to do that and move on because that person wasn't there begging and saying, "Hey, we should make this work." Because then sometimes people feel guilty,
Yeah.
and they're guilted back into a relationship that they shouldn't be in because they're not happy.
I just want to at least have one conversation with you, the last. Just to, if you're gonna break up with me, I would just want to hear it through your voice. Like I want to hear you just say it. I don't want to get it through a text.
I would rather do it over text because, and even if someone broke up with me, because if you broke up with me, I don't think I really want to see you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I don't want to sit here for 45 minutes and talk about everything that we could have done differently or things that like I did wrong or you did wrong. Like, and there's really no benefit of that.
Especially because I think at that point, A, you're not prepared at what you're gonna say, like
Sure.
whatever argument's coming, and B, you're gonna act off emotion. So like your other guy you were talking about, you could say or do something that you're going to regret.
Yep.
This gives you time to kind of sit it, like get your thoughts together and possibly send something back or possibly not even say
Yeah,
anything
just not even
afterwards.
say anything back.
So I don't know. I feel like if personally, I would probably almost rather do it through text.
Yeah, and that's kind of what as I've been thinking about this all day pretty much, and I think that's one of the things that I thought about was I actually might prefer the text message just because I don't have to see you anymore. You know what I mean? I don't have to have that conversation. That hurt. Yeah, it's gonna hurt, but we're done at that point. I don't have to continue to talk to you. I don't have to
Yeah, I
continue
get
to see you.
Because
You
the
know what I
only
mean?
real reason why you would want to see the person is attempt to get them back.
Exactly.
So like I wouldn't want even myself, like at this point this person doesn't want me, I wouldn't want myself to like sit there and try to beg for them back.
Yeah.
Right? At this point I can be like, okay, fine, like I'll move on. Whatever your reasoning is. I shouldn't attempt to change your mind because your reasoning is that you want to move on. Like I should never have to try to persuade somebody to stay. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that's to me like the text would be the best. And what's funny is like we go through just a breakup, but fights happen all the time at text. And how many times have you like just gone in a full
Oh,
slate full
man.
of fights? And you're not like, oh wait, let's stop and let's meet with each
Yeah.
other first. No, like
Your
I've gone
thumbs
through
are on
several,
fire.
Yeah, and long old text messages.
Yeah.
You're just like waiting for the next one. Like come on, come on, come on.
The little bubble. Like,
So like that would be the same concept too. So unless you can sit here and say you've never even fought with anybody over text, that would be kind of the same thing because you would be like, okay, we're adults, let's meet and have this fight in person.
yeah.
Unless you can literally sit here and say you've never fought with anybody over text, to me, it's almost the same concept.
Yeah.
So-
Immoral people.
How dare you?
Is it just a simple, I think we should see other people, or just to break up, or do you explain why you're breaking up?
It's kind of an
Yeah.
explanation.
Yeah,
you
for
sit
sure.
there, hey, like it's not really working out, blah 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 blah. What your explanation is? You sit it, and they take it how it is, right? And they either argue back, but
Uh-huh.
at that point, I can personally choose whether I'm willing to continue this argument
Or just ghost.
or I'm willing to kind of just leave it at that.
Yep.
And I think that's what texting gives you rather than if I'm in person. I don't have that, right?
Yep.
You can sit here and you're gonna either say the incredible
Make
mean
a
things to
scene.
me, you're gonna make a scene. If we're alone, like who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
There's
Gosh.
so many more and realistically that's how it is.
Yeah.
Like just like he was saying about his coworker
Uh-huh.
that told him, you just don't really know. Like you're in public, they're making a scene, they're throwing things. Now you look like a horrible person. You're alone, you just don't know what could happen, what could change. So text kind of gives you that little safety barrier, especially if you're kind of already over.
Yeah, for sure. It's an easy out. I mean, and that sounds terrible, right? That sounds really bad, but like you said, at that point, you have the power to decide whether or not you're going to continue that argument or just, like you said, kind of ghost and move on at that point. But I think you definitely give an explanation.
Yeah.
You don't just text someone and be like, "We're broken up." I think like that's not the end of it. Like you definitely have to be like, "Hey, this
Yeah.
is why I'm breaking up with you because A, B, C, and D, or E, F, G, H, I, J, K." You know, other stuff you have going on.
Is it socially acceptable to break up with someone only because of like yourself? Like you know how you always hear that famous saying, "It's not you, it's me."
Okay.
Like is that an acceptable
So
thing?
like, so what's an example of that? Like what?
Let's just say the place you are in, like you yourself, like they're great, they're a great human being, but you yourself, you just want time to kind of do your own thing. You want time to better yourself, right?
Okay.
And I feel like somebody could be like, hey, listen, I'm just not ready. Right, I'm not ready for this relationship. I'm not ready for this, and that's kind of like an internal thing, right? It's nothing that they're particularly doing wrong,
Right.
And I know we get that a lot from movies or comedy skits, how that's just like a lame out.
It is a cliche, kind of.
Yeah, could that be someone's actual reason to be like, hey, like, ooh, I'm just not into it anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I think it absolutely could be, but I think no one would take it seriously. It would definitely be taken as a cliche and an
Yeah.
easy way out, but I think it would be a legitimate reason for someone to break up with somebody. You know, if you're not happy with yourself and you're not happy with your situation, then can you really be with somebody? Can you really be that happiness for somebody else at that point? So I think it is an acceptable excuse to end a relationship when you're just not happy yourself with who you are and what you're doing in life. But it's definitely going to be taken as you're lying. It's an
Yes.
easy way out. This, you're just making an excuse to break up with me.
Yes, and I agree, and I keep bringing up like work, right?
Mhm.
We brought in calling in a while ago, and I'm going to say the same thing too here. Is I saw a quote a little while back that said, a lot of people, if they're taking a day off or they call in sick because of a mental, like,
Oh, like anxiety or like
not even that, but like you just need a day to yourself, kind
Okay.
of like anxiety, or you need it's like
a mental break. You just need
you need a mental break, yes, and that you could possibly kind of be looked down upon because of that, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And that kind of happens in the workplace. Kind of same concept, right? I could, just not be me, and that's gonna obviously affect my work environment and what I'm doing at work.
Sure.
If mentally I'm not in it, Same concept over here. You know, this person could be great, but mentally I'm not in it. So I could ruin something that could possibly be great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's what y'all said in one of the other segments, as in you should, if you're in a relationship, you should be happy, and the other person should be happy. You should be responsible. Am I
Yes.
correct? That's what you just said, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's just like you said. Even though it does sound like a cliche, no matter what the person says, it's gonna sound like a cliche because the other person's mad. But I mean, that's kind of true. Like, if you're not ready to move on, if you're not ready to marry this person, you're just not ready to marry. Why be in this relationship? If
Yeah.
this other person is ready, you're not happy. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to respect that. And then you just like move on. That person's not ready. Well, you just okay.
So
So that's
let's-
okay.
right.
I mean, you're not ready. You're not ready. Because then, you're just gonna be unhappy and then you're just gonna take me down. But like I have a coworker who she's basically she's sick, so she deals with a lot of things. And so she wanted to almost break up with her boyfriend because she felt like she was kind of just bringing him down a little. So that could happen too.
Yeah.
That could happen too. That's a little different.
Yeah, it's a little different, I think.
Because she feels like she's doing something to him rather than this is like almost like,
Yourself.
yeah, myself. I need to just focus on me, right? There's something I need to do. There's something I'm just not right,
Yeah.
and so I need to focus on me. And I feel like that's kind of where it derives from that whole saying, "It's not you, it's me."
Me. Uh-huh.
That realistically, maybe that could possibly happen, where someone's just like, "Hey, like I want some time." Kind of just to myself. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about texting you. I don't want her to worry about disrespecting you because
Right.
I'm not talking to you. I just need
Relationships
some
take work.
time to me. Yeah.
have you ever seen that movie, 100 Days of Summer, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
No.
Okay, it's just about this girl named Summer. He's really into her. He meets her at work, and they eventually dating. And what it is showing the 500 days that he's dated and known her, and throughout their breakup. And so this guy, he's obviously when she breaks up with him, he's just devastated, and he doesn't know what happened. But we're going back into the flashbacks. He sees everything as perfect, but you see that she's just depressed. She's depressed. She don't know what it is, and she eventually she breaks up with him. And then eventually they meet up one day because she finds out that she's engaged. And when she's like, "Well, why are you getting engaged? I thought you didn't believe in marriage." It's like, "I just met him. I just knew." And it's kind of like the same thing. If you're with that person and you just don't know, again, if you're not happy with that person, then you got to move on.
The movie seems sad.
That was actually a really good movie.
No, but like, so one of the things I wanted to briefly touch on was, so let's say hypothetically, you are in that situation, right, where you definitely feel like you're not yourself and you need to work on yourself. Do you use that, or do you look for an excuse to break up the relationship, right? Do you find something else? Like, whenever, for example, you want to break up with somebody and you do that thing where you start a fight over something very small that like could have easily been brushed over. Do you do something like that instead of just coming out and saying, "Hey, look, it's not you, it's me"?
I think like that's super hard to say like right now, like right.
Right.
But I think that's actually a perfect example because I do feel like a lot of people probably do that
Yeah.
actually. And like if I were to put myself in that situation, I would probably possibly do that too.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things where you're like, oh, I have something good maybe, but this is me, so any little thing is going to be the excuse to kind of back
Yep.
up. So I know I can see that. It's actually a really good point. Because again, like it's one of those cliches that if I tell this person that, they're not going to believe me, or
Mhm.
maybe I'm going to be just the person in the wrong because I'm not explaining it to you. Like Naomi said earlier, I want to meet you in person because I need an explanation. Maybe I just don't have an explanation, and that kind of saves me from getting an explanation and gives me a way out.
Yep.
I don't know, guys.
And
I
maybe it
just
even-
think that's a lot with maturity. Like,
Not necessarily, because maybe even that's a point for you to let go too. Because
Yeah.
maybe you yourself holding on, and it's kind of
You're looking for that.
Yeah, you're kind
a
of have this
sign or
you have this internal battle where it's like, I just want to let go, but I don't have a reason to. Oh, this is my reasoning, right?
Yes.
And so you give yourself a reason to kind of
justification.
move on. I don't think it has anything to do with maturity. I think it's a battle that we've kind of put in ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. You have don't let something good walk away or something. Right. You have all these, especially in today's, because you have on Facebook where all these perfect couples, and if you feel like you have that, and maybe everybody's telling you have that, but deep down inside,
for sure.
you're not in it anymore.
Oh man.
That's hard to explain to somebody, and it's really, I think, more importantly, kind of hard to explain to yourself.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head on that one with the whole like perfect relationships on Facebook and stuff, because everybody makes it seem that way, right?
Yes.
Everyone makes it seem like their relationship's great, and all your friends are telling you, "Man, you guys are so cute. You're happy. I'm so jealous of you." Blah blah blah. But in reality, you're having that internal battle with yourself of like, do I want this? Do I really even want this? Because either I'm working on myself or just something going on with the relationship, whatever. But you put on that front on Facebook, so I think you killed that one. I hit the nail on the head on that one.